The following is a presentation of Stewed Productions.
Hi, I'm Brock.
And I'm Aaron. You're watching and listening to InterBrews.
This is InterBrews.
Take me fool. I'll be like, hi, everybody. My name is Josh, host of InterBrews, as you have come to realize by now, I hope. And we are at St Arnold Brewing Company, and just now from...
I guess I'll have a slow pour.
Yeah, from heaven, the slow pour H-Town Pills. Look at that.
I'm claiming that it's just a prop. I'm not actually having a beer in the middle of the day.
No. Hosway serving us today. Mike, find a spot where it won't make everything blow up for your beer, but where you can reach it. I think we've set up a nice obstacle course for Hosway there. Brock, kudos. Your entire staff has been just top-notch since the moment I pulled onto the property.
Oh, thank you.
We
have a really good team.
They strive for excellence. That's kind of a if you're on LinkedIn too much, you see that posted all the time. But truly, excellence from everybody I've encountered here today.
Well, I like to say that we have an amazing team, and I just take credit for all their hard work. But that's actually what makes St. Arnold what it is.
You're like the... Well, wait. Okay, so are you like the Dusty Baker, or you're more like the Jim Crane of St. Arnold? I don't know. Either way.
I'll need to drink a little more beer before I can come up with that answer.
Aaron Inkrott is... you're kind of the Dusty Baker now, right? Is that what that means? Well...
I mean, I haven't brewed a physical batch of beer in a while, so... I don't hit baseballs or catch them.
Not much like Dusty Baker.
Correct.
He's just there to do the things, right? Make the calls.
It's sort of like being head of baseball activities as opposed to head of all the operations. It's definitely baseball activities.
Yes. So anyway, to bring everybody up to speed, Aaron Inkrott is now brewmaster. Brewmaster. That's a thing, right?
Yes, sir.
I didn't get that wrong.
No, you're right.
Has it not sunk in yet? Like all of that?
I mean, it's a really cool feeling, and it's nice to hear from the public and all my friends, and being congratulating, and it feels really good. Yeah, I was telling Brock, dopamine is a real thing, and it feels really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and after a lot of hard work, it's really well deserved. I've actually gotten a lot of positive feedback about it as well.
Well, it's a good call.
People say, "Hey, man, Aaron's the best."
Yeah,
that's great. So
that was my sentiment. That's what I was like. I would type all that out, but I'll just do the thumbs up. But that's what I meant.
Yeah,
that's a great call.
No, it feels great. Yeah.
So, Brewmat, you're the second only person here to ever have that title, correct? The other...
Actually, he's the first. I never used that title.
You never had it? It was never... I mean, technically speaking, it was never on a placard or anything?
Right. I always... When people would ask about it, I would say that, if somebody had that title, it would have been me, but I never used the title per se. So Aaron is our first brewmaster.
Well, there you go. Wow.
Titularly. I just wanted to say that. Titularly.
I'm not even sure what that means, but I agree. I think that is the titulars. I don't know how that.
I mean, historically, the term, dates back to Braumeister, so German, and so people actually go to school, and it's a a diploma based title. But I think in the United States, to me it has a certain allure that if you call yourself a brewmaster and you just opened up a brewery and you haven't brewed a professional or a large-scale batch ever, and you take that title, I don't know, it means a little bit more to that than, I don't know. And to me, I remember hearing the term used by other brewers that, how can you be a master of something? And then I think it means a variety of things, but I think outwardly it means a lot. And
you went under, I went over. That is... It's a fantastic beer, by the way. Sorry.
Oh yeah,
it's a distracting beer.
It's a great beer.
We'll get to that in a second.
But yeah, it feels great, and I'm happy to represent St Arnold for being that. And
Yeah.
but like you were commenting on the team here at the Garden, and I'm nothing without my team, and that not just the brew team, but everyone else in all the departments. That we can't do any of this without any of them. So
yeah. It's a big operation here, from just on property, and when you're not even talking about all the beer out being distributed in communities, and your logo like at Minute Maid Park and places like that, where that's de facto, that's representing you there, and everything that happens around that. It's just remarkable when you think about where St. Arnold has been, the journey from over on 290 over to here, and where we are now, and to get through the last couple of years, year and a half or so. There we go. Oh,
forceful.
It's got. I like these glasses on the dimpled glasses.
Prost.
Yeah. Boom, prost. It is. I buy a lot of H-Town pills.
I drink a lot of H-Town.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good.
So the dimple glasses are historic to the Czech Republic, and that's putting that slow pour was purely for selfish reasons.
Yeah.
And there's a few breweries here in town that have it, but the main brewery in Denver, Bierstadt, they were the first brewery in the United States to kind of resurrect the Luker slow pour faucet, and then and it all dates back to Czech Republic, how they control their the pour. Yeah, it's
all right. Well, break down the mechanics of a slow pour.
So
let's nerd out.
Pretty much all beer faucets are binary. It's either on or off. And the Luker faucet, that's the brand Lukr. There's two flow controls. There's a plunger valve that runs through it's called the shaft of the faucet, and that can control the overall beer flow, beer speed. Okay. And then there's the wooden handle, and it's a ball valve, and you can actually control if it's going to be foam, a mixture of beer and foam, or all beer. And then the secret is there's a very fine micro like mesh filter. And what it does, it does knock out some of the carbonation, but by doing so, it's creating a tighter head.
Yeah.
And so it's more pillowy.
Yes. And
so you're getting the sensation of softer carbonation obviously, but you're getting this much more focused malt flavor. So I get, like, if you were to do this side by side with the regular tap, I get so much more like honey and biscuit out of the malt. The hops are a little bit more integrated into the beer, whereas when it's on the other tap, the hops seem brighter to me. But yeah, they're just so easy to. I just really like how the malt stands out with the Luker faucet.
It's definitely a different experience overall, and I'm a sucker for experience, like just the ritual and the grandiose approach to it. It's worth the trouble. Totally worth. Like, it's not trouble, but it's like it takes more effort, but it's totally worth it.
Yeah, beer is an experience. I mean, it is a social beverage. It brings people together. There's ceremony around it. I think all of these things are part of why we love beer. And, we like celebrating the history and the culture that surrounds it. It's not just being innovative and moving forward, which we do a lot of that, but it's also looking back and what got all of us here. Yeah. And, what are the brewers who were brewing 300 years ago, what were they doing?
Yeah, it's well, I mean, just that's the thing. Like with beer, it's like you change the faucet on a traditional style, right? And it completely changes the experience around the beer. And that's just it's a faucet, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, oh, that's super cool. I just think that's super cool.
I think it's really cool just because of the beer itself. It's a single malt, and there's two different hops. And when you just change the faucet, it changes the beer completely. So it's fun to play with variables just to enhance the experience and just take the consumer on different paths.
So would a lager, is it like the slow pour is more tailored to like a lager, or could you put amber ale on it and experience some of the same variables and things like that pop out?
So that's I think that's a great question, and it's, I think if you were to put amber or even like Alyssa or Artcar, I think what's great about the standard binary faucet is that I mean, that's what's traditionally used all over the country. So not everybody's going to transition to a Lucre Frossa, one, because it's like $300 or something like
Right.
that. But I would be afraid to put Art Car on this because it's an IPA. You want those hops to be bright, and this kind of allows malt to shine a little bit more, and again, it creates a cohesive thing. I think you can design beers around the way it's going to be poured. I mean, take Guinness as a prime example, and Nitro is. I mean, remember when Nitro IPAs were a thing several years ago, and I was like, why? It subdues the hops,
right?
And you really want those hops to be bright. I mean, is it a good beer? It is an okay beer, but I would much rather it be, carbonated with CO2 instead of nitrogen. So
the binary tap and when you buy this packaged, like in the cans, that's like the recorded version of the song. And then you can come here and like y'all play it every night. So if you go to see in concert, this is the spin you put on it tonight, or today.
Yeah.
That's a good way of thinking about it. And I think we got inspired to serve it this way. There's certainly Bierstadt in Denver, but it also every year, when there's not a global pandemic, and we go to do our hop selection in Europe, and go to Germany and then the Czech Republic, and it's been a tradition for us to stop at the Pilsner Kell Brewery, and then afterwards to go to the pub that Aaron always remembers the name of,
Narpacanu.
and we get unfiltered, unpasteurized Pilsner Quell, and it is served in the dimple mug. You can ask for the type of pour, like how much head you want. You can get kind of more of just a straight regular pour. You can get the slow pour like this. You can get the milk pour, which is like milk. It's like straight foam.
Yeah.
But that beer, the experience of the unpasteurized, unfiltered Pilsner Kell, I think that is the basis. That was our inspiration for making H-Town Pils to begin with. And it's been a process. It's been several iterations as we've gotten here. But then adding the faucet is kind of the cherry on top.
Yeah. It's this alone. I mean, this is like make a trip just for this, And sorry, my wife's pregnant too. I just noticed pregnant. It makes me a little nervous. Baby's coming in March, so
You'll be fine. There's a little instruction book that pops out with the baby.
Well, they've probably changed. My oldest is 15, and the twins are going to be 13, and then I'm going to have a baby.
Ooh.
And yeah, exactly.
Sorry.
No,
that's excellent. That's great.
It's exciting. But yes, what you said. The first one is like, it kind of hits me in waves.
I had bought my first house right when my first kid was being born, and I was blown away about how little I had to sign to take my kid home from the hospital, and the amount of documents I had to sign when I was buying a house. I was like, they just give you it.
Yeah.
The kid.
They just put you in the car and they send you home. Good luck. And they're like, my lunch break's in 10 minutes. You got to go or whatever, right? That's terrifying. And it's been a long time since we've been through that part. I don't know if I'm going to be able to survive not getting any sleep. We'll see.
Don't worry. I'm sure the older you are, the easier it is to go without sleep, right?
I'm sure.
You'll figure it out.
Yeah.
You've done it before.
Yeah. Right.
You'll be great.
Thanks. I had that moment of nervousness, but being here with you guys, I'm feeling a lot better now. Thanks.
That's the H-Town.
That's it.
2 more of these, please.
We got French press on tap.
I was going to say, I almost brought up the French press on coffee as like your different methods of preparing coffee compared and contrasted with the different taps.
Like you have, Chemex, like a pour over or an espresso, or what do they call the
plunger that's French press, right?
Well, yeah, that's French press, but they have another smaller unit. I can't remember what it's called now, but it makes like a single serve espresso.
Oh yeah. The silver, the silver thing. I don't.
We make French press similar to the cold brew method. So it's literally cold brewing on the beer.
Mhm.
So like you would make a cold brew by mixing water and very fine coffee grinds and let it sit for 18 some odd hours, and then you would remove the beans. So that's essentially how we make French press. We make a cold brew.
Do you have like
a cold brew beer? What?
Do you have a giant French press, like the size of one of your fermenters? That
No, we use the centrifuge for that.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say maybe you have to get like 4 people up and just start jumping up and down on this huge plunger. That sounds fun though.
That sounds, yeah.
French press available now in other variations as well, barrel aged variations out.
Cognac and bourbon. Yeah.
That's good stuff.
Yeah.
There's no end to variation on beer. Like there's maybe there's an end, but we'll never reach it, right?
I hope not.
Yeah. I mean, when you think about how you. Oh, now we got. See.
Oh.
Speaking of variations, what happened?
Oh.
Just did
Did you order that?
I didn't. Did you order that?
No, I didn't order that.
It just magically appeared. I mean, Brock, did you do that? Did you have like?
Oh, I was like,
No.
We were going to enjoy it, but yeah.
I was like, how did y'all do that?
that was the East India Trading Company flight, by the way.
Oh, so what goes into the East India Trading Company?
All
flight?
the different IPAs.
All the IPAs.
Yeah.
Okay, so Alyssa, Monarch Carr, and
Juicy.
and
Is it Double Down that's in there, or is it we put Harmony? I don't.
Probably Double Down and Harmony.
Yeah.
It's 5.
it's 5 IPAs.
Yeah.
Okay. So-
Harmony, which we call a hazy pale ale, but most people would actually probably call it a hazy IPA.
So where's the line between pale ale and IPA? Is it just a spectrum that one flows right into the other, or is there a? Would you?
I think IPA has superseded what it actually stands for.
Okay.
I agree with that. To me, like pale ales, like when I think of a pale ale, I'm going to show my age, but I think of Sierra Nevada Pale Ale.
Yeah.
Our amber ale is, in my mind, actually a pale ale. I called it amber 27 years ago because in Houston nobody knew what the hell a pale ale was, and actually brew pubs at the time were coming out with some beers that they were calling pale ales that were really pale, as opposed to the name originally came from they were pale ales compared to the porters and stouts that were being brewed, not compared to light lagers. But things morph, and I think that's actually okay. I mean, sometimes people get stuck on thinking of things as if there was a snapshot in time, and that's what everything looked like and should always look like. Everything changes. Language changes.
Yeah.
Beers change. Beer styles change. They evolve, and I think that's one of the things that keeps everything so exciting.
Yeah.
It's still fun to look back at the history of styles and where they came from, but we have never gotten hung up on brewing to style. To me, that is incredibly limiting.
Well,
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, I like when Oktoberfest comes out. I get to have that conversation with everybody. Well, what's an Oktoberfest? Like, well, so you ask. When this beer came out, and it's like on to the, off to the races on that story about it's actually an ale, and then they had the da-da-da. And it's like I get to tell that whole story. Back when Brock first opened, all that kind of stuff. And it's like, I like having that conversation. One, I love to hear myself talk. But two, I like to talk about beer and educate people. It's like, hey.
I think it's just important if people enjoy it and have a good time.
Yep.
That's arguably the only thing that's really important.
Right.
Do you like it?
Do you like it?
Yes.
And I mean, you can even dive deeper into the Oktoberfest discussion, because if you go to Munich and go to Oktoberfest, you're not going to get served, Märzens.
Everybody's drinking Helles.
Yeah.
Yeah, Helles and the special Oktoberfest beers, which aren't Oktoberfest beers. They're beers that are brewed for Oktoberfest. But anyway, this all gets very confusing. But they're very light. They're light-colored lagers, maybe slightly stronger than your regular Helles, but they have nothing to do with Märzens.
Yeah.
And, oh my God, I can't imagine drinking liters of Märzen.
No. I may have tried it once. I got one of the liter mug, and I'm like, I'm going to fill this up with, I think it was your Oktoberfest. And I was like, this was a mistake. This was
I did a liter Guten Tag, or half liter, I guess, because we only have half liters here. But I mean, our Guten Tag is an actual traditional Märzen.
Yeah.
And it's nice toasty beer. But if you're drinking liters of things, it should be either Fest beer or Helles.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah, I've also done scientific studies drinking out of half liters and liters, and I have determined that you get drunker drinking liters instead of half liters.
Okay. Like 1 to 1?
Even if you drink the same volume?
Even if you drink the same volume.
Really?
Partially because I think you actually don't drink the same volume.
Okay.
But you will drink a liter if you have half liters, it will take you longer to drink 2 half liters than if you have 1 liter. You know, you get down to kind of that 3/4 point through the mug, and it's starting to get warm, and you're ready. You feel like you should be having another one, so you drink the last part really quickly, and then you get the next one, and next thing you know, you're drunk.
Yeah, no, that's true. I would say, that's if I were going to put a bet on that. But I think the experiment we should probably get some scientists to, do that.
Yeah. And we all have to go to Hofbrauhaus because they only serve liters there. Most of the other German beer gardens in Munich, you can get half liters, but Hofbrau, it's like go big or go home.
Only liters. Yeah.
Huh. Is that, and they've done that for what, 200 years or something?
Oh, probably longer. When
was the first liter mug crafted?
That's a nice historical question. There.
Somebody just had a bucket, and they're like, "This is the size we're going with." That's all we got.
You better get a bucket. That's sorry, different illusion. Sorry.
Speaking of your trips abroad, when is the last time you got to take one for hop rubbing and picking? And
we went to Yakima this year in Washington, so
it's like a different country.
No, we have not been overseas in about 4 years, I think.
Okay.
3 or 4 years.
Do you see it on the horizon happening again? Hopefully, maybe. Is it just too?
I don't know. I mean, we're ready. We had some inventory of hops that we went through, but we're ready to select. But things are so strange right now. I don't know. Germany's going through a major outbreak again, and I just talked to a counterpart over there, and he said that they're considering going into lockdown again. So if they cancel Oktoberfest for a third time, I can only imagine like it. And this year, 2022 is supposed to be Drink Tech. That's like the largest beverage industry conference in the world, and it's held every 4 years, and it's always held in Munich during hop harvest, and which is also Oktoberfest season.
Right.
So if Drink Tech doesn't happen, then that's
part of me is like, that doesn't bode well for the future. But they made it through 2 world wars, and all the things that happened, all the war crazy. They even have Munich wars, right? Like they did all that like way back in the day. They've survived all that, and they're still making beer over there.
Yeah, I think companies adapt.
Yeah,
as organisms, corporations are highly adaptive, and I think going into all sorts of different crises, people go, "Oh my God, it's going to be the death of everything," and then shockingly, instead of 90% of the breweries closing, 2% close, and when you hear the ones that did close, they're typically ones that you're like, "Oh, I'm not surprised," or often it's like, I hadn't actually heard of them.
Yeah.
So, chances are they might have actually closed anyway. So I think it just proves that we did the same thing. I mean, we pivoted, middle of March 2020. We didn't know what the hell was going on, and we quickly rearranged all the deck chairs and came up with new strategies and focused on beer to go from the brewery, which was something that had recently been legalized but was not going to be a focus of ours, honestly. But it helped also for our food to go, since we're much more of a destination in our location than we are kind of a neighborhood joint.
Yeah.
And a lot of the innovations that Aaron was working on, the beers that were going to go to market, those became special releases just at the brewery. We came up with Zoom beer and cheese tastings, which were incredibly popular.
Dumplings.
Yep.
and
And honestly, some of those things I think are going to stick around.
Yeah.
Because, I like doing a beer and cheese tasting because at the end of it,
Yeah.
I'm pretty happy.
Yeah.
At, putting quotation marks around happy.
Yeah.
And stumble into the next room with the bourbon barrel aged commitment that we were finishing with, and put some vinyl on and listen to that. And I'm just no driving involved.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah, there are some things that are definitely sticking around through all of this. There's a lot of that has changed, and it's interesting to see the number of breweries that actually opened during all of this. Right? I mean, that's a wild thing to think about. You opened during this. Okay. I mean, it's interesting to see when you talk about DNA of a brewery, your DNA is going to be altered compared to it's going to definitely be you've mutated to something else. But
It is, and I think some have beaten the odds and done well, especially if they had a good outdoor area.
Yeah.
I think some were focused with a more indoor space, and they'd obviously designed it pre-pandemic.
yeah,
And they've struggled. And I think there's some other weird supply chain issues. The biggest one, the one that's probably gotten the most press, and for good reason, is aluminum and cans.
yeah,
That has become the preferred vessel of craft brewing, which that's a whole other discussion.
we can get into that if you want.
But we've all been dealing with the can manufacturers saying they're not going to give us enough cans. Now they've recently came out and said you have to order 7 truckloads at a time. And just to give you a feeling, we have, I think, 12 year-round brands. We have 3 brands that really that 7 truckloads works. And we do about 60,000 barrels of beer. If you're a 8,000 barrel brewery, you don't have any brands that works on.
Yeah.
And then Ball also announced that they were putting about a 50% price increase on cans a couple weeks ago. And you did hear that correctly, by the way. 50.
50.
Yes.
What is it? Just supply chain? Where I thought aluminum was everywhere. I thought it was all recycled from everything. We use it for everything. I don't.
Recycle is a loose term.
Right. Okay. I don't know the whole thing. I don't know enough about things. I can confidently say I'm completely ignorant about all of that, but I see it and I'm like, that doesn't sound good.
Oh, but also don't forget that there was a really bad barley crop last year, and prices, the yield is way down, quality is way down, so we're going to have to pay a lot more, and make sure that we can get enough of a high beta glucan, high protein malt.
Where was it hit hardest? Is that American grown or is that
all across? So most of the barley is grown in the northern part of North America, so right between Canada and Minnesota, Montana area. And there was a major drought, and comparing it to last year or 2 years ago, and barley crop for this year is down about almost 40%.
Really?
And then there's this. It's right on the top of my head because I had the meeting a couple days ago. But there's a huge trade war between Australia and China. Apparently, it's going to be going on for over 5 years, and and China used to buy a bunch of barley from Australia, but now they're not. Australia's not selling it to China, so now they're going into Europe and Canada. All the barley grown in the United States is only sold in the United States. It's not exported. So I didn't know that fact, actually.
Yeah.
It's strange times. Strange times became stranger.
Yeah. It's the hits just keep on coming, right?
Here's another fun little thing I learned a few years ago is that most of the barley grown in Canada for brewing is grown by Mennonites.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
So
that is an interesting tidbit.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to cut that out and post that somewhere. The more you know. That's I had no idea. Mennonites. No, it's the Amish that make like the fireplaces, right? Like the electric fireplaces that you see on late night.
Oh, they're no electric. They don't use electricity.
Somebody built. Well, okay, but somebody makes some. Maybe it's Mennonites. They make like the little fireplace, like electric plug-in fireplaces.
Yeah, I was doing college visits with my son and went to Lancaster. It's not Lancaster. It's Lancaster County. I think we were visiting Franklin and Marshall, and it's the middle of Amish country.
Yeah,
it's pretty hilarious when you see those buggies on the road. They are flying. They are moving down the road. It's like, wow. You sort of think of them as kind of like moving along 10 miles an hour. Nope.
No.
They probably need speed limits.
Really?
They're very impressive.
What do they feed those horses?
I don't know.
Not barley. It's too expensive. Price of fuel's gone way up. Look at this. A gallon. What do you feed? Like a bushel? I guess by the bushel. Like you wheel in and get a bushel for your horse. I don't know. They eat oats, right? Oats?
Mares eat oats and does eat oats. Little lambs eat ivy.
Horses eat grass and hay.
No oats?
I don't think so.
No?
I don't know.
Okay. They could probably eat some oats.
They could probably do it. Yeah.
Or some apples. They eat apples. I've fed an apple.
They put a bag of oats on a horse. I feel like I've seen that.
Yeah. I feel
They
like
eat peppermints.
Dude.
I was in Louisville a few weeks ago, and they pronounce it Louisville. And something they brag about at the Kentucky Derby and all the thoroughbreds that are bred in Kentucky is that it's the Kentucky bluegrass because it's builds strong calcium in the horse's bones and everything.
Of course.
And that's what I was like. So they only eat the grass. I was like, well, Kentucky they only eat the grass.
No.
I was like, oh,
So
okay.
No, and peppermints.
And peppermints. So we went to the Kentucky Derby to watch some races, and they were handing us peppermints like while we were walking in, and we were like, "What is my breath smell bad?" And I was like, "Oh no, they're for the horses." And I'm like, "Okay." So we go down to the right on not on the actual course, but just right at the barrier, and the horses will walk. It's like they know that they're going to get a peppermint after they ride because they just walk right up there, and then people holding out, they go. You can see them kind of hustle, get their peppermint. Oh yeah, they love it.
Is it one of like the crunchy kinds or those kinds that kind of powder away?
No, like the standard, circular.
Like my grandmother had the dish on her
those
table.
Well, they want to have good breath before they go back into the stable.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah. You don't want to go all post-race mouth. That's awful. Ugh, dude. Try a mint. Did you get a mint julep while you were there?
Several.
Okay.
They had commemorative cups, and it was only $10 because they know you're gambling.
Yes. Okay.
So, yeah. And they were doubles, so $10 for a double.
Did it have the actual mint where the leaves hit your nose as you...
It did. It did hit my nose, yes.
They do it right.
Oh, it was great.
If you were going to do a mint julep style beer,
okay,
what would be the base style?
You want to play this game?
Yeah, let's do this.
Well, you need a bourbon barrel.
Okay.
You need mint.
Yes.
So the idea is, I think what's great about the mint julep in itself is that it's a very quaffable beer, cocktail.
Mm.
So because it puts it in those like Sonic ice, like crunchy ice. So I don't know. I think part of me feels like you would do a lower alcohol beer. I think I would do a lower alcohol beer. Mm-hmm. You wouldn't age it very long in the barrel because you don't want intense bourbon.
Yeah, you just want
because there's a fair amount of simple syrup with it.
Yeah.
So a pale beer, not bitter. You want, I think, just like a minty hop. So like Liberty or Goldings, maybe, just to kind of get that mint, and then actually use mint.
Yeah, probably use mint. There was we got some samples of experimental hops a few years ago, and I remember this was, I think Steven said it. I have a memory of him setting up this test, and we went out and we tasted all the beers, and there was one experimental hop that tasted like mint. It was bizarre. It's like somebody had put mint in the beer. That hop apparently went away. So I guess nobody actually wanted mint in their beer. But I don't see why you wouldn't use, why mint wouldn't work as a dry hop kind of thing.
I was going to say, when do you add the...
I'd probably add the mint post barrel aging because you want it to be bright. And You want it in your nose.
Right, exactly. That's why they put so it tickles your.
Yeah.
You have to jump on it first to bruise the bale before you put it into the. There's a lot of slapping going on.
Yeah. No, that's the sound of
That's
a
probably what I would do for a mint julep beer.
good. Okay.
I don't think you want it to be heavy.
No.
No.
Well, when is Kentucky Derby? No.
May.
May.
It's in May.
May. Okay. Yeah, it's hot here by then.
It's like one of the first weekends in May.
Yeah, it's kind of like because we always do we have some family members we try to get together for like a Mardi Gras party or something. But if we can't make it work, then usually it's like a Kentucky Derby party, themed parties. Either we make the kids make a mask or a hat at the party.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's fun.
It
Kids
is.
like that.
Yeah, and then we make like Kentucky hot browns and mint juleps, and that's the party. Unless it's Mardi Gras, then it's a different menu. But you know what I'm saying.
I would actually go a different way than Aaron on this one. I would actually make a heavier beer, malty, but no hops, very low hops, and barrel age it, and then finish with a dry minting.
Dry minting.
Do you use what type of mint? Is it like a
There are a bunch, but
Yeah.
I cannot speak to mint varieties well.
okay?
Going back to Yakima, 90% of the world's mint is grown in Yakima.
Really?
Yeah.
I've learned so much so far on this show. I don't know how much longer this episode has, but I don't know.
That's just something I found out going on a crop tour when we were up there in Concord grapes. Majority of all your jam and jellies is Concord grapes, and that's where they're grown because
In
they're
Yakima?
Yeah, because they're
Not
too.
in Connecticut?
Yeah.
Isn't that where Concord is?
No,
Or
but
is
Concord grapes are grown majority up there, up in Yakima,
Okay.
because you have to add a whole bunch of sugar because they're such acidic
Yeah,
grapes. No one wants to make wine with them. So
that makes sense.
Yeah, Yakima, for people who don't know, is essentially desert.
Yeah.
But it is fed from the runoff from the Cascades. So it's on the east side of the Cascades. Like the west side of the Cascades, Seattle, all along the coast, super moist, wet. You go across the Cascades, it's arid, dry. There's some beautiful land over there. It's some sort of moonscape areas that you drive through depending which way you're going. But it is all irrigation watered, which, and you get intense, long days, intense sun, as opposed to Europe, where it's almost exclusively rainwater, and there's not irrigation. It's cooler during the day, and that's part of the reason if you plant the exact same. I'm actually trying to bring this back to brewing.
Yeah, that's good.
But that's why the same variety grown in Yakima and grown in the Hallertau will taste completely different.
yeah, they try to. Amarillo. There's Hallertauer Amarillo. So Hallertauer is a part of growing region in Germany and vastly different. Like you could probably use it similar to Cabernet, like growing terroir for grapes and whatnot. So it's just depends on where you plant it. It'll be very different.
So it's not just like when you hear terroir, you think the dirt, right? But the dirt got that way because it's desert region versus rain fed or whatever, and it's over centuries became this thing. That's wild to think about. Like every beer you try, you're trying this evolution history thing. Like it's like a thousands and thousands of years brought this to where it is.
Yes.
Yep.
It's fun to think about.
It is fun to think about.
Yeah, beer styles developed in specific regions because of ingredients that they had, and it could be the barley that they grew, the hops that they grew, the water that they had. All of these things kind of came together to people. I'm sure people brewed a whole lot of different things, but one worked.
Yeah.
Burton and Trent.
Yeah.
They could make hoppy beers, and so IPAs came from Burton on Trent.
Yeah. Yeah, you look at the regions of Germany, Goza and Hefeweizen, all those, right? They're specific to certain regions, and
Stouts out of northern England and Ireland, and because if you were to put a lot of roasted barley in a lot of German brewing country, it would just tastes completely off just because of the water.
Yeah.
Styles were exactly as Brock said. They were country specific because of the ingredients available.
Yeah, I was kind of I was telling somebody about like when you go drink Kolsch, right? Like I've never done it, but I've read about it, right? I read the book, and this is how they do it. And the glass and the thing, and they bring out, and the people are whatever. They're like the Kolsch guys. They're like like they don't work for the actual bar. They're like independent contractors or something, from what I understand.
I didn't know that.
I didn't either. Like the servers?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, they're like, I'm going to go work at this place this weekend, but I'm a Kolsch steward or whatever they are, with their tray and everything, and the stong, whatever it's called.
Stange.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. But I was like, yeah, they just go, it's just like Kolsch. You don't have to order. You just say, yeah, it's like eating at Fogo de Chao. Like, keep bringing it, right, until you flip that thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, I wish we had something like that here. Hey, Kate, how's it going? Oh, she got a beer. Great. Kate might get married soon, very soon.
Well, congratulations.
Congratulations.
January? Yeah. It's getting close.
It's coming.
Yeah. So all kinds of fun things. And you can hear people in the background as you're watching this laughing and making merry. This is the time of year we make merry.
Mm-hmm.
I see Santa hats.
Yes, Santa hats and people with lights on their shirts and things like that. And any time of year is a great year to come to St Arnold and make merry. But, come on out. Bring your whole family. They've got plenty of room. You can make reservations to get one of these chapels. There's the plug.
Thank you.
I fully endorse people coming here and having fun. It's fantastic.
We have a good team. And one of the things that I think says a lot about our team over here is there's a lot of OGs, people who were here when we opened the beer garden. Mm-hmm. And through the pandemic and everything, and it's a great culture. One of the things that we, when we opened the beer garden, it was a completely different business, and running a restaurant is a black box to me. Like I always said that on the brewery side, I might be rusty at doing some of the things, but at some point I did something at least related to what everybody in the big brick building does. Nice. But the beer garden, that is a different beast, and how a kitchen operates. Mm-hmm. Like they speak a different language. I love to cook at home. I don't know how those people, how the team keeps straight the 5 different things that they're cooking at the same time, and doesn't get distracted and talk to each other in almost their own language.
Yeah.
But one of the things that we then struggled with is like, okay, how do we make it one culture, not hey, we have a beer garden team and we have a brick building brewery team. And especially during the pandemic, it was hard because one of our big cultural things we do here is have, after work beers, post shift beers, and we couldn't do that. So we've seen that coming back, and I think we're getting better at making everybody integrated and feel like it is one company.
Yeah, I think breweries, tap rooms, big long tables full of people are going to be the catalyst to get society kind of back to normal. I think we're all in this kind of weird, I don't know, we've been a lot of time alone, a lot of time away from people kind of thing. We've gotten used to it. Everybody's used to wearing a mask or doing the social distance thing or whatever, and that's not normal. And a lot of people don't remember. There's some kids that probably have never, they have no other memory of it just being like, that's not how life is. We need to go be communal, get around a table, share beers and laughs and all that kind of stuff. And I think this is going to be like society therapy for sure.
I think it is human interaction in person is critical. Yeah. And I mean, I'm an introvert. Mm-hmm. So when the whole shutdown thing and work it from home first started happening, and we had a lot of us who are primarily sort of office focused worked from home. Our operational people didn't have that option. I mean, you can't make beer or package beer from home.
Yeah.
So they came in and did an amazing job throughout. But also a lot of people, like there was all sorts of like child care issues and things that hit people that was completely unexpected. Now that we're getting back together, I think we see the value, even for an introvert like me who was kind of like, hey, I actually don't mind sitting at home and not seeing people all day. You start to realize that those interactions, those shared experiences, it's different when you do it in person than over a Zoom call.
Yeah, there's a lot to it. I mean, you just like, as much as we get annoyed by other people, you need other people, right? That person in the office that you're like, oh, I'm not today. You need that though to appreciate when they're not there, and that sort of. But it's like,
well, I find today that we, and in the office, most of the people work from the office, but we'll still take a day or two of working from home. And for a lot of people, they actually find that that's actually a much more efficient way to work, to be in the office part of the time and then be at home part of the time, and you can just knock stuff out that's hard to do sometimes when you're getting interrupted at work. But I find that there are questions or interactions I want to have that I'll walk over, and if somebody is not there, if they're working from home today, I don't email them or call them. And so that interaction is missed out on. Because it doesn't kind of rise to whatever level of, hey, I'm actually going to, the activation energy, it doesn't cross that level. So I do think that if people are constantly not together, that there are a lot of interactions that will never happen. And I think that we all suffer for that. So
yeah, just like if we weren't here, would we have had that mint julep beer conversation? I guess.
Well, if we were sitting at home on Zoom and I could see us doing that.
Okay,
we got adept at it.
It's true. Yeah. That's true.
But the question is, would we have even started having a conversation?
Right.
I think that becomes the issue. If you, having a Zoom, that takes, hey, do you want to have a Zoom? Somebody's going to schedule it, send around the invitations. That is a different level than me at the end of the afternoon walking over here, seeing Aaron and a couple other coworkers hanging out, having a beer, and I join in a conversation. That's the conversation that doesn't occur if we're all at home.
Yeah, that's true. It's so true.
You miss out on the organic, development of a conversation. Whereas, when everybody was at home, you had to create. You had to not force it, but you had to put the effort into.
Yeah, when you're the little distractions at home, your cat walks by, the kids are doing something like they got too quiet, whatever it is, all that keeps you out of that, like really engaging in that conversation. But when you're face to face, sitting at the table or whatever, it's like it's kind of it's like jazz music, I'm feeling what this. Put it down now. It's
a lot more improv.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I think this environment. I don't know, how it's quantifiable that this is doing therapy for everybody. It's a form of therapy, though.
I imagine 10 years from now we'll be able to quantify it, what it did.
Maybe, yeah,
maybe
if people are paying attention.
Well, we definitely know that alcohol sales for at-home consumption went way up.
Yeah.
Now, total alcohol sales did not go up. I think there's a misconception about that. There was a period where our sales through grocery stores, liquor stores was up, 25%, which sounds great. But there was also a period that our on-premise sales to bars and restaurants went down 99.5%.
Oh, wow.
And I'm not actually completely sure where the 0.5% went.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, there was changes in habits, and certainly people were. I'm not sure where I'm going with this, and especially since I think everybody already knows this. We were all sitting at home drinking.
Yeah, a lot more at the beginning. A lot. Like it got easy.
A lot.
What else are we gonna do? Yeah, it almost was like, how much can?
I bought several cocktail books and added a whole slew of liqueurs and different spirits, and because I missed going to cocktail bars because I really like doing that. And
Did you come across a cocktail that you were like, this has changed my life, this is great, and this is going to be in my...
There's probably several of them, but really enjoyed making, well, didn't really get into Negronis until pandemic, and then now I really enjoy Negronis.
What's a Negroni?
It's gin, sweet vermouth, and Campari.
Okay. What's Campari?
Campari is an Italian herbal liqueur.
Okay. What's the flavor? What is it?
Bitter.
Okay.
Yeah, it's got a nice bitter. It's got some orange in it. Yeah, I've actually, I've been a Negroni and an Americano, which is a Negroni without gin. That was actually the first form of it that I got introduced to, was the Americano. And
Not to be confused with coffee.
yeah,
Right.
and which is just Campari and sweet vermouth. And the sweet vermouth kind of takes the edge off of the bitter. But yeah, it's funny how that cocktail in particular just exploded. And it is a delicious cocktail. And I think it has something in common with beer because of that bitter. It's got, it's got the sweet and the bitter elements, just like beer does.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's a good combination.
Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody should do something with that. Okay. Do you have what's the ratio? Like
1 to 1 to 1. That's the traditional method. I changed it up over time, but traditionally a Negroni is it's all equal parts.
do you put it in a shaker or is it like
Stirred.
Stirred over
Poured
ice?
over ice.
Is there a specific glass?
Rocks
Stock?
glass.
Rocks glass.
Yeah, I typically like a little bit of soda on top of it, and one of my tricks is using like an orange seltzer, orange LaCroix,
Okay.
and using that to top it, and a little carbonation gives it a little life. A lot of times people drink it still. To me, traditionally, it has a soda element. I feel like the pandemic Negroni, people just skipped the soda and just went straight for the hard stuff.
Well, that you said it's Italian, right? It's Italian soda has always been it's kind of where I don't know, is that where sodas came from? Italian? I feel like that was, I know it was drugstores and stuff back in the day as well, but
I don't know.
I'm going to say yeah.
I think Italian sodas did in fact come from Italy.
Yeah. No, yeah, that. Yeah. Fact check that. Mark that, Mike. How's it going down there, Mike? Good? Hadn't really said a whole lot. It's been a minute since you've been on the show. I'm glad you're here. Speaking of sitting at a table with friends, it's been a while since I've got to hang out with Mike, so it's good. Oh, you can't hear. Oh, I didn't get you headphones. That might be part of it, too. Perhaps. I'm sure he would have said some really smart stuff by now. Anyway. Speaking of sparkling water and soda and other things other than beer, we hadn't even touched on your ciders and sparkling hard seltzers, things like that. That's a thing.
It is.
It's hard-hitting questions here on InterBrews. How are the cider sales? How's any thoughts on new ciders or innovations in cider, anything like that?
Cider still does pretty well. We've got 3 mainstays right now: our dry cider, and honey agave, and then our Just Right. We launched our Just Right. Oh, I've lost track of time.
Yeah, I have no sense of
I don't know
where we are.
But that was relatively recently, and the Just Right is a more traditional approach to making cider, whereas the honey agave and dry cider use different methods of back sweetening that you would traditionally find in a cider. So the original dry cider was the first one that we came out. We back sweetened it with Belgian candy syrup, which cideries don't. They typically just use all apple products in some way.
Yeah.
Honey agave, back sweetened with honey and agave, and then the Just Right we use a French bittersweet apple to back sweeten that one. So that's more of the traditional.
Now, y'all did some wild ciders, right?
We've had some fun with some barrel aged ciders as well.
Yeah.
They're delicious too.
That's a fun project, and we did a 1 wood barrel of that. We're doing some. We still have some upstairs. We're doing a malolactic fermentation, and that usually produces a softer, less aggressive acidity than what you would typically find in a cider. Cider's fun.
Yeah, the wild cider. That's where I think it really starts to.
That was a fun project for sure.
Yeah. Any more of that on the horizon?
And we refilled that barrel,
Okay.
so it's aging.
Cool.
The bugs are working.
The bugs are working.
That's cool. Yeah. That's to me. That's just where. That's what I imagine like old world ciders were.
Yeah.
Like that. I assume. Anyway, anything that
Traditional cider like that and like malolactic based ciders, they just take time. They really do.
How long in the barrel?
I don't remember off the top of my head, but the wild cider was probably in there for over a year, I suspect.
Okay.
Yeah.
And does it still top out at like 6, or does it go?
That finished. That was a higher alcohol just because it was completely dry.
Okay.
But I don't remember off the top of my head. I should, but I don't.
Okay, that's fine. We can go research that. Anyway, well, I know you guys have more things to do today. I don't want to keep you from it, but I really do appreciate you sitting down with us. Mike, you got any final questions? You're doing a great job. He can't even hear. He didn't. I'm sure it was.
He
fine.
did no register.
He doesn't have headphones. No questions.
Probably can't hear.
No questions. My question: have you thought about what you're going to have for lunch? We're going to eat here. Look at a menu. What do y'all recommend?
It is all delicious.
It is all delicious on a Thursday when the weather's not winter-like. Oh, speaking of winter, when is Winter IPA coming out? I love that beer.
We just packaged it yesterday.
I love that beer.
I took a 6-pack home, fresh off the line.
Yeah, that beer is so good. Like,
it is.
Especially if it gets a little crispy outside. It's like the perfect, slightly crispy kind of, yeah.
Yeah, grapefruit.
I love
with
grapefruit, yeah.
hops. Yeah, it's good stuff.
It's good.
Love that beer.
Yeah.
Love it.
Pizza here is delicious.
Mm-hmm.
The dough is so wonderful, and the grilled chicken sandwich. Everybody loves the burger.
Yeah.
The grilled chicken sandwich. That's in my heavy rotation.
Okay.
We actually have salads that are really tasty too. But
I could probably use that.
I mean, some people eat salads.
I respect salads. Just probably eat more of them. 2022. Let's look forward. What are people expecting as they look back years from now? As we look forward at 2022, because this is like a audio video time capsule, assuming the internet doesn't go away at some point. But 2022, St. Arnold, looking forward.
We will be launching a new beer in January. It's Hideaway. It was kind of a margarita-inspired beer. We use a traditional Berliner Weiss kind of style method of souring. So we use similar to what we did with Boiler Room and Raspberry AF, where we produce wort, we inoculate with lactobacillus, acidifies, lowers the pH. We do, and then we bring it back to the kettle to boil. We add salt. We add a little bit of El Dorado hops, which kind of add a really cool orange citrus character, and then also lime peel and lime powder.
Okay.
So it'll right at 5% alcohol, and it's in the tanks right now, actually.
Okay.
So
It's like halfway between a Goza and a dressed beer.
Okay.
So nice and refreshing.
yeah.
Yeah, when it gets warm in mid-February, that'll be
Definitely, yeah.
That's good. Okay. So something to look forward to. And is that like a seasonal, or is that going to be
I'll be year-round beer.
year-round?
Yep.
Okay. I love it that the year-rounds come out, New Year rounds, all that kind of stuff. Y'all have never rested on your laurels. There's always something new, something I've always respected. It's just, you analyze.
Keep moving.
Yeah, it's great.
It's fun.
Yeah.
It is.
Developing beers is fun.
Well, trying the beers that you develop is fun too. So we're all winners here. All right. Well, 2022 looking promising. 2021. Do you have a favorite memory from 2021?
Oh.
Or something notable, or anything? Do you remember anything?
Yeah, drinking a lot of H-Town pills and adding the slow pour.
Yeah.
I think
That was good.
Yeah.
Okay. It is fantastic. I'm going to have another one of those. Those are great. That is. You need to come here. Come here and try this. These slow pour H-Town pills. Ours are gone, so we'll get more. So come here and do it. All right. Well, I'll let y'all get back to doing the Lord's work, and we'll wrap here, and then we'll come back and do this again soon. It's for InterBrews for 2022. We're going to be doing a lot more episodes.
Great.
So
good.
Live streams, all that kind of stuff. So we'll be back if y'all have us.
Of course.
Love to.
Cool. All right. So we'll wrap there. So for don't hit it yet. For Aaron, Brewmaster Aaron, Brock, for TD Mike, for Kate, I'm Josh. Thanks for watching and listening. This is InterBrews.
This is InterBrews.
The preceding has been a presentation of Stewed Productions.